On this episode of Quick Takes, we're looking at the XLOOKUP function. XLOOKUP is available in Excel 365 and 2021. It's like VLOOKUP, but way better. Our data consists of random user data generated by randomuser.me. Our goal is to use XLOOKUP to return the email address based on a last name provided in cell I2. In cell J2, enter an equal sign, the function name XLOOKUP, and an open parentheses. The first parameter of XLOOKUP is the value we want to search for in our dataset. For this example, we want to search for the value in cell I2. The next parameter is the range containing our lookup value. Since our lookup value is last name, we'll select column C. The third parameter is the range that contains our desired value. We want the email address, so we'll select column D. Unlike VLOOKUP, we only need to select the columns containing our lookup value and our desired value. The next parameter is optional and allows us to provide XLOOKUP with a value to return if the value in the first parameter isn't found in the range in the second parameter. If we leave this parameter blank, XLOOKUP returns an NA error if no match is found. We'll leave this parameter blank and enter a comma to move to the next parameter. The fifth parameter of XLOOKUP is where we set the matching criteria, which, like the previous parameter, is also optional. This is similar to the fourth parameter of VLOOKUP. However, in VLOOKUP, the default value is to use approximate matching. In XLOOKUP, the default value is exact matching, which I think is much better. We'll take a look at the wildcard option a little later in the video. Let's leave this parameter blank to use the default and enter a comma to go to the last parameter, which is search mode. Unlike VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP is able to search top to bottom, which is the default, or bottom to top. Again, the default is fine, so we can leave this parameter blank. Since we're using the default values for the three optional parameters, we can delete the last three commas. Type a closing parentheses and press enter. We now have the email address for the first employee with a last name of Reed. Now that we've covered the different parameters of XLOOKUP, let's enter the lightning round and quickly review some additional use cases. Let's say you want the employee ID of the last employee in the list with a last name of Reed. No problem, move column D in the third parameter to column A. Enter 3 commas to go to the last parameter, select -1, and press enter. VLOOKUP can't search right to left, but XLOOKUP can. What if you want the employee ID for Marcia Reed? We can't get this by searching top to bottom or bottom to top since there are individuals with the last name of Reed above and below Marcia. Don't worry, XLOOKUP's got you covered. First, delete the last 3 parameters. Next, place the cursor before J2, then select cell I2 and type an ampersand. Next, we need to add the first name column to our second parameter. Before the column C selection, select column B and then type an ampersand. Pressing enter, we get employee ID 8843, which is the employee ID for Marcia Reed. XLOOKUP can use as many lookup values as you need. Just make sure to separate them with an ampersand. Also, the order of the columns in the second parameter must match the order of the lookup values in the first parameter. For our next trick, let's use wildcards to look up the employee ID for the individual with the last name Reed and the first initial S. First, replace Marcia in cell I2 with the letter S followed by an asterisk. In the lookup equation, place the cursor just before the closing parentheses. Enter 2 commas, and then select option 2 for wildcard match and press enter. So far, we've used XLOOKUP to return a single value. XLOOKUP can actually return a range of values. For example, let's keep the same search criteria as our previous example, but instead of returning employee ID, let's return the values email, username, and hire date. All we need to do is update the third parameter to columns D through F. Press enter and notice the desired values were spilled across the cells K2, L2, and M2. For our encore, we'll turn XLOOKUP on its side and search for Kate's username. In cell I2, I've entered the lookup value username. In cell J2, enter an equal sign, XLOOKUP, and an open parentheses. Select cell I2 as the lookup value. For the second parameter, select the header values in row 1. For the third parameter, select the range A4 through G4. Type a closing parentheses and press enter. As you have seen, XLOOKUP not only replaces VLOOKUP, it can also replace HLOOKUP as well as index match. If you found this video helpful, make sure to press those like and subscribe buttons. In this video, we briefly covered Excel's wildcards. Check out this video for a more in-depth look at using Excel's wildcards with the filter function. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.